Hey, welcome to another episode of the Black Guy with Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we are here on a Saturday morning, ready to give you guys some feedback, or slightly in the afternoon, I guess, Saturday around noon. This is for people who left us feedback, and we're responding to it. So if you guys left voicemails, comments on our website, emails, comments on our YouTube, we're going to read them today. That's what it's all about. The official weapon of the show is
folding chair,
and the unofficial sport,
bullet ball.
And bullet ball extreme. Of course, there are people who took the time out of their and the money out of their pockets, the time out of their day to give us money for nothing, like just to say thank you for existing. Thank you for, providing this space. They're not getting premium content or any of this stuff. They're just chilling out and hooking us up. And so we like to give them a shout out for doing that. And so let's go ahead and give you guys your shout outs.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's own Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tied to the Black Guy with Tips.
That's right. New bread, new nods of the head. We got Pete B, Joanna M, Douglas Aura, Linda L sent us a one-time donation on June 19th. What could that mean? June 19th. It says Happy Juneteenth.
Oh, shit now.
And it was for $19. I know I don't say how much, but it's important because the number matches the Juneteenth. We see you, Linda. Okay, out here being an ally. All right, thinking of us. And happy Juneteenth to everybody. We were off that day. Laura F, Chris from Hawaii, April G, Tabitha M, Corey Dutickler, Alexis H, Wonga from down under, and of course Marlon B. Yes, Marlon B. Thank you very much, everyone who took the time out to put a little money our way. No 5-star reviews. None. We haven't had any since June 6th, Karen.
Apple need to get it together because I really do think
Apple, no. These sons of bitches need to get it together and they need to give us our 5-star reviews. And because y'all didn't, extra commercial break right here.
I was trying to give y'all the benefit of the doubt.
Now, see, does anyone like that? We're 3 minutes into the fucking show and you already got 3 more commercials. If I was you, I wouldn't want to deal with this.
Nope.
If I was you, I'd leave me my fucking 5-star reviews before the whole show is commercials, okay?
Right?
Get your shit together. Refresh your old reviews. If you're new and you've been taking us for granted, leave us our 5-star reviews. Come hug our necks. Let us know you like us and they're special.
We want to know we love, y'all. We don't feel love.
They better be 5 stars and they better be nice. Or you get the commercial, you get the ads, okay? And I don't know what your algorithm is.
I don't know what it is either. Ain't no telling you. It might be the airport.
I don't know where you live. I don't know how your town get down. You might have just heard Donald Trump is stopping people from aborting 12-year-old babies that are already children in grade school that are coming home a different gender than they left the house.
We don't control
and that's your fault. That's not my fault. That's your fault that you had to deal with that one extra time that you wouldn't have had to if you just would have, one of the thousands of you. There's so many of you from all over the place. If just one of you said, let me drop these guys a line, okay?
Yes, y'all drop us a line.
If not, we just gonna keep dropping ads. I don't give a fuck. I can do this all day. It's just a click of a button for me. So let's get our shit together, okay, everybody?
Let's get it together. And for those of you overseas, take a snapshot and email it to us. Show your proof that you left us a 5 stars.
All right. Now let's get into these actual episodes. Okay, guys. We had I think 4 episodes this week, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, we got plenty of people that left comments. You can go to the blackguywithtips.com, leave comments. You can go on our YouTube, you can leave comments. Wherever you leave comments, we appreciate it. And of course, we will read them on the air and respond to them and stuff. You know, we love talking to our fans and interacting. You guys always make it fun, so that's why we do it. Let's see what the first episode of this week is. It's 3113 Dynamic Duo. We got 8 comments on this one.
Okay.
Let's see here. The first comments from 2 comments are from Apia. When people criticize protesters and activists of today, notice that the examples they give for people who supposedly did it right are always dead activists because they can't do or say anything anymore. People got used to their names and make up legends about what they really did. It's not like MLK just walked into the Senate and said, "Would you please cool it with that racism, please?" And the politicians finally understood. Now that you've asked us politely, of course, pizza party for everyone. Right, exactly.
Right. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, man. I don't know what to say in times like this because I feel so adamant and resolute about precisely how I'm seeing the world. And I feel like everyone's coping mechanisms and excuses and explanations, I'm probably just not in a good place with it because I don't want to hear any of them.
Nope.
And they all feel like things that are coddling the people who are actually responsible for where we're at.
Agreed.
And I feel like we're not going to have a solution as long as we don't agree what the problem is. And so I have to let people cook, but I am having trouble with that. When I was on Karen Hunter's show and Kevin Frazier was there and he's talking about Democrats and shit, I honest to God, my eyes glazed over. I'm like, I don't think this dude realizes how fucked we are. You know what I'm saying? It's not even out of some like, I think this guy is a bad person or they're against what I'm for. I truly just think a lot of people haven't accepted how fucked we are and they think it's just a matter of messaging or the Democrats do this or some, go on a podcast or what, just some inane bullshit in my opinion. And so I was on Reese Waters' show recently. He has a YouTube channel. I don't know if the replay is out there or not.
It is.
Okay. I had a great time. Like we talked for 2 hours. It was super fun. And it was a good time because we talked for 2 hours and the show starts at like 8:30, meaning like I was like, it was bedtime basically. It was like, all right, but we were having such a good time. It was like, it flew by. But I know a lot of people in the chat because he has a live YouTube chat and YouTube skews a certain way, even for black people. It's a little more free for all over there than some content platforms.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, at some point I could see the crowd because when we talked about politics, guys, I'm not backing down. Wherever I'm at now is just I'm not trying to fight you, but if you ask me how I feel, I'm going to tell you. And if I just happen to disagree with you, you just gonna have to accept that because I'm accepting you disagree with me. I'm not trying to fight with you, but I'm like, this is why I don't think what you're saying is the problem. But we were talking about this whole, thing and, and it wasn't that Reese was going in on Democrats or whatever, but he was just kind of like, talking about the system. And I think I brought up Bernie and he was talking about, like, well, didn't they rig it against Bernie and shit? And so I kind of went on like a 10-15 minute thing of like why I think that's extremely dangerous to keep saying that and why words matter and it's important. Like, you can say these people were biased against me because I was an independent trying to take over their party.
That's valid.
I would accept that because I truly do believe that is a part of it. People begrudgingly did their fair job of doing the process. They didn't keep him off a ballot he was supposed to be on. They didn't make citizens vote against him. They didn't rig a voting machine.
No, they did not.
And so I won't rehash the entire point I made, but my point being, I'm where you're at, Apia, when it comes to like, oh, but what about MLK? He did it right. And I'm like, MLK got beat and then killed.
Right, he's dead. We're talking about the ones that are alive and functioning right now.
I don't know that I need an activist today to repeat that for me to call that the right way. And when he was alive, no one called it the right way.
Right.
When he was alive, they called him an agitator, and they said he was a troublemaker and a rabble rouser, and that he was causing riots. The same thing they're saying about the people protesting today.
Agreed.
And any violence that went one way was on him, and any violence that went the other way was just, oh, what are we supposed to do about that? I'm not going to a bridge to get dog sicked on me. It's 2025, and motherfuckers are just gonna have to eat that. Not everybody gonna protest the way you want to, and ultimately the reason I don't have much to talk about people's protest tactics is because I'm in the house.
Yes, I am.
I'm in the house. I have nothing to say that can help them or hurt them. I'm in the fucking house, and I don't want to argue with people just because I'm in the house and I'm mad. So let's go on Twitter and argue. If you're not out there trying to solve this problem or help with these protests in some way or move the goalposts in your own ways, I don't even understand why this is your motherfucking business.
Right.
If they want to take Mexico flags out there, take them out there. It's not my fucking business to figure out how to best protest for you. If it's all white people and they want to do We Shall Overcome, sing away. I'm not out there leading the band. I didn't pick the playlist. I really think a lot of this shit just boils down to we all need to just chill the fuck out if we're not involved. And that's how I look at those protests. And I don't want to hear a lot of criticisms of the protesters, because I think the same way I feel about Democrats, for the record, is how I feel about the protesters. Like, meaning everyone's nitpicking like they are the bad guys. As far as I'm concerned, the people protesting the good people. Like, I don't have a bad thing to say. Oh, they probably didn't vote. No, they probably fucking did.
Most of them did, yes.
I just, like, dog, I hear y'all. I have the same emotional response to seeing protests that I'm like, these will not work with this administration. I feel bad, but I'm not going to denigrate these people. They're doing their best.
Agreed.
She says, I absolutely got gotten by the gender wars. I noticed it, but too late. No wonder it's such a successful format. It's good. I'll just sneak up on your ass. Next thing you know, you like, women shouldn't have to cook and clean. Fuck, they got me. Ronan Raphael says, I used to listen to movie reviews a lot in the past, but deep down there was something off without realizing it. Looking back, it's clear that I was searching hard for something. Then one day, a Russian lady said, check out Spoiled Movie Review. And I never went back to the ghetto. Okay, that was from my forthcoming book. Seriously, I don't fuck with many reviews after you guys open my third eye to the reviews of movies or shows made especially by especially black creators. I figured what had been missing in my review content. Yeah, and I really feel bad for black creators in this environment, because without naming any names, the most prominent black critics that work for like these storied institutions, I think, are actually much harder on black art than they are on white art. And the ultimate issue that you can't avoid is that the person who decides who works for, say, the New York Times is probably some white person that doesn't necessarily have that much of an appreciation for black art, but also they are hiring this diverse person to review these diverse movies, and they want to hire somebody that essentially feels the way they feel. That, like, don't praise this too much. Like, be kind of mean and snarky and kind of like take these things down. That's what we would do. That's the kind of black person we want working here. And once I realized that, I, like, in addition to not ever getting mad about these reviews, like, I don't share them on the show and go, I can't believe she said this or he said that.
It's not worth it.
In addition to that, I just was like, I don't ever want our reviews to be that. So we just make our reviews the way we make them. And I think a lot of people who take the time to listen to them really find some enjoyment in what we do.
Yes, yeah, because like you say, we basically be like, what did you like about the movie? What you didn't like about the movie? And like you said, for some people, they get caught up into one extreme or the other extreme that they never cross, if that makes sense, because most reviews are like, how do you feel? And people just rant one way or they rant the other way. And so the way we do it forces you to have a balance, because not trying to fun, no matter how bad or shitty a movie is, there is a lot of times something positive out of it if you actually sit down and think hard enough.
Yeah, so it's been fun, because I mean, it's not like we like every movie or hate every movie. It's just try to be fair you know. Now, Rod, you'll be glad to know that I fell asleep listening to this episode. I paused it as a good, responsible citizen to continue after. So, why did I dream of you still reading me for filth and calling me out when I asked you to play a new tune? It was only your voice, and it was so hilarious that I laughed into waking up. Maybe book two, Karan out. Sean says, I never listen to movie reviews until spoiled movie reviews. They are still the only movie reviews I feel are worth listening to. Wow, that's a big compliment coming from Sean.
Right. Shout out. In fact, since we doing this, for those of you that like spoil movie reviews, what is that? There is a free feed for those of you. You can actually just type in the Black Guy Who Tips, and spoil movie reviews will literally pop up underneath it because it's called the Black Guy Who Tips spoil movie reviews. And with those, you don't get immediate reviews. Premium people get those, but you get them like a month and maybe some change afterwards.
Yeah, and maybe I shouldn't be talking about this live on the podcast, but I've been toying around with should we explore a Patreon? Because my main issue with Patreon is, one, they take a much bigger cut of the money, which, oh my God,
they do.
But my main issue for the Patreon thing is the back archive would not be there for people. It would need to start from like now. So right. So if we started a Patreon, people would only be getting premium stuff going from now to the future. But I know Patreon is a lot easier to integrate with people's podcast apps. It has its own app. It works very well.
Right. I've been all jokes aside, like that has been something I don't even remember talking to you. That has been something
you have talked to me about it, but it's just, no offense, you don't know how things work.
No, I do not. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm an ideal person. I'm the ideal girl. I'm not the executioner. Not executioner, but I don't have to execute it.
Yeah, and so I was explaining to you that part of it of like, man, I don't know what we do to with these people that, it's like, okay, I guess everything from this day forward, you can have some premium, but like, what do you do if you want to go back and be like, I want to listen to Balls Deep 1? You can only do that if you're premium on our website, and there are RSS feeds you can import into your apps, but it's the amount of data and shit that we have, the amount of storage it would take to just put all that shit on Patreon is insane. Like, our behind the paywall shit is more than 99% of people who make podcasts.
Yeah, that's true. We got a few thousand behind the paywall.
But it's something I was thinking about. Maybe I'll make it the poll for the show if people want us to be interested in a Patreon that's just from this day forward, as opposed to getting all this archive. If you want the full experience, you stay on our website. But anyway, it was just a thought. I don't know what made me think about that. Because it's a spoiler movie review thing. Yeah. Anyway, also, I think there's a lot more support for The Last Starfighter out there. It was an amazing movie and an intriguing premise. If you did a spoiler movie review on it, I would rewatch the movie just to prepare for your podcast. Thanks, buddy. Shoe Booty says, I was just talking to my husband about this Target boycott stuff, saying how even if they come back into the light, so to speak, they've already tainted their public opinion in a way many of the people boycotting them aren't going back. They showed their whole ass with this one. There are stores I boycott that I won't give up on. Hobby Lobby for trying to police women's bodies with their health insurance regulations. Chick-fil-A for being homophobic. Just because they're not publicly donating to anti-LGBT charities doesn't mean they're not still doing it privately. And now Target for turning their back on DI and pride. People never forget the way you made them feel. It doesn't just apply to interpersonal relationships. You're right, Shoe Booty. And that's why I always try to mark a distinction when people talk about we're boycotting. And I'm like, and I think they find it dismissive, but I mean it in the most sincere, empathetic way. Are you boycotting or are you just mad?
Yeah, because those are two different things.
If you're just mad, it's actually over whether you recognize it or not. I had this conversation with so many of my friends around the NFL. Mm-hmm. They would be like, oh, I'm boycotting the NFL. And I said, what would it take for you to stop? And all of them would give me these reasons and these things that the NFL could do. And the NFL did them. But it was a big talking point, a sticking point the year Kaepernick protested on our sports podcast, Ballsy Sports, because Justin was one of these like, yeah, I'm boycotting, I'm not watching it. And so I went through it. I was like, here's the thing. I think a lot of us are not watching because product's not as good as it used to be.
Mm-mm.
It's a lot to keep up with. We're getting older. We're, that shit. You get your Sunday afternoons back. Next thing you know, you don't feel like sitting down to watch that shit no more, which
right.
That was a big part for me. I'm not boycotting the NFL, but I started going out on Sundays, and next thing you know, I can't tell you who the fucking backup running back for the Panthers is anymore. I'm like,
well. Yeah, I used to tell you all that shit.
It's not a boycott. I've just been doing shit. I used to play fantasy football and
me too.
All that. I just don't know as much because it is an all consuming type of habit unless you just are like one of these. I follow one team and that's all I care about, guys.
Right.
Which almost no one is. Like NFL is almost like a religion, right? Anyway, so you got that. You get your Sundays back. The other thing I said was, okay, so what do they need to do? And all my friends would name stuff. Well, they need to donate to some charities. They did that. Oh, well, they got to get more black coaches. They did that. Oh, they got to do like everything. And the final straw for me, not final straw like I'm fed up, but final thing, the big joker for me was like, I think even if they do all this stuff, y'all aren't coming back.
Nope.
And they was like, well, what if they give Kaepernick a job again? I said, even if Kaepernick plays again, I don't think you're coming back. And the reason I don't think you're coming back is because you're mad. I don't think you're boycotting. I think you're upset with this NFL about this specific thing. But there's a bunch of reasons to not watch this shit. From concussions to the domestic violence to the greedy ass owners to the inaccessibility to the lower quality in play to the way that they're stretching the season out, making these guys play all these fucking shitty games on shitty nights. It's becoming to a point where it's actually oversaturated.
Yes.
We just in America can't recognize that with this sport. For some reason, if it was the NBA, we would all be shitting on it.
Yes, sir.
But the NFL's the big dog, so we just
they let them do whatever they want to do.
We'll accept cookies and crumbs. Like preseason football games be sold out sometimes. It's really bad here in America. But the bigger point being, when someone's mad, there is no on-ramp. Like, Target could put all the shit back up today.
Most of them people aren't coming
You
back.
have lost a portion of people who are never fucking with you again.
Agreed.
Because this was an emotional thing for them. And so there's a lot of people who are using the word boycott, but they haven't even told the truth to themselves yet, which is like Shoe Booty has for herself. This isn't really a boycott. I don't fuck with you no more.
Right. It's personal.
Yeah. It's that simple. Like it's not a demand, actually.
No, it's not a demand.
A boycott is, hey, when the buses take away the colored section, we are all getting on the bus again. And they'll get our 94 cent or 25 cent or nickel, whatever it costs. They'll get that again. They'll go into the system. They'll realize black people matter. This money they were withholding, we got it back, and we need to treat them better from now on out. That's not what's about to happen with Target. They can put all that shit back up. And I think there's going to be a contingent of people that will always look at you sideways for going your ass into Target.
Yeah, agreed. And for me, I went through this with Papa John's, and Roger had to break it down to me because, like, it was a time I was like, "Oh, I'm never fucking," and I meant that. Like, it literally took to get me to eat Papa John's again because that's my favorite shitty ass pizza. I know it ain't the greatest, but I love it. And so, like you say, when it is an emotional thing, it's like fuck that, fuck them. And your mind is made up, and there was literally nothing they could do to make me change my mind because, like Roger explained to me, they did everything I wanted, and I was like, I still don't give a fuck. And he was like, well, then you just angry.
Yeah, what can you do? And like, what happens is people normally hear that, and it hurts them or feels insulting when someone goes, "Oh, you're upset by this," because they're used to people taunting them with like, "Oh, you mad or something." I'm not saying it in that way. I'm like, "Oh, when I say, oh, you're mad, I mean, oh, this is a different thing than a boycott. This is a fuck you."
Yes.
And a fuck you ain't got no expiration date.
Someday it could be to the day you die.
Yeah, I don't. So that's just okay, you don't fuck with them. Cool. Thank you for letting me know. I'll be careful around that topic, EBE says, I stand corrected about the Switch too. I still see them in stores, but it's clear Nintendo anticipated that they would sell like hotcakes. I'm so sorry for upsetting you, Karen, but I kind of lived for your tongue lashing. What does that say about me?
I wasn't upset about you like my comments were not directed towards you. It's just for the fact I have very, very strong feelings because as a nerd, like a fellow nerd, like I felt lied to. I felt like the populace and online lied to me, and I was like, oh, well then I'll be able to just to sneak on in here and get one, and I couldn't, so I became very upset and called the motherfuckers liars, and everybody talked about how expensive it was and shit like this, and then you couldn't find the bitch, and I was like, oh, y'all niggas lied. I think that's where more of my anger coming from the nerds that lied to me, talking about they didn't have the 5 and they found the 5 somehow.
I'll tell you what it means for you, EVE, that you kind of liked it. It means that you've been a bad girl. And that you've been naughty. And sometimes you need Karen to put you in your place. Welcome to the club. Okay. Sometimes I need to be scolded. All right.
Oh Lord.
Sometimes I haven't been on my best behavior. All right. It'd be funny. I didn't pull out a ball gag, put it on right my mouth, and now I'm ready for some punishment. Miss Barnes says, I love your spoiler movie review. I look forward to your smart and nuanced reviews of movies. By the way, your review of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was the only review of that movie that I enjoyed. Pointing out what you both did and did not like is what makes the review balanced. Thank you. Thanks, Miss Barnes. I really do, man. I'm surprised. I mean, I don't want anybody to steal our content, obviously, but I do think it's very unique what we do, and I'm actually kind of surprised you don't see more people do exactly what we do. Mm-hmm. It's a really easy format, and I think it's pretty like we pretty much get to all the stuff, but yeah. Anyway, I made the format of a review show I would like to hear.
Yes.
And I hadn't heard anybody else's show like that. And so I'm very proud of that show, honestly. I think it's very unique. And we typically don't get into the long-winded, like what we would have did with the movie and what this, like we don't get into a lot of the stuff that a lot of podcasts get into. But anyway, let's get to the YouTube comments. We got 4. Rhea says, I switch between listening on YouTube and iTunes. Is there any benefit to you guys to listen on one platform versus another? I mean, I would say not really. I guess if you listen on a podcast platform, I mean, there are measurables there that like iHeartRadio and the Inflection Network that we deal with. There's like numbers they'll see, but like honestly, at this point, I don't think there's a huge difference anywhere. And we are still always trying to build up our YouTube viewers and stuff. We're not making like this YouTube money, like the goddamn they balling. Like that's not what we're doing. Like I think full transparency, we might get like so we have it set where we get a check if we reach $100 in ads on YouTube, right? We might get a check every month, like a little over $100. So we're not big time. We have 4.3 thousand followers. There are podcasts that have literally millions. Hundreds of thousands. We're nowhere near those big dogs, but any place you listen, you're helping. Thank you. Dark Namja emojis, and then Inez Harrell emojis too, like 5 stars, winky faces, hearts, that kind of stuff. Thank you for those. And I'm not, I always acknowledge those because those actually do help our algorithm on YouTube. Like even if it's just emojis, you guys are putting a weight on the scale that just gets it promoted to somebody else's feed. So thank you.
Agreed. Thank you.
Do you listen to movie reviews? Yes or no? 94% of our audience listens to movie reviews. 6% does not. Wow. I was surprised. I thought it would be a lot lower.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, they listen to them a lot of times, even if they don't plan on seeing it. I think some people listen to them because it's just like the talk of the town. It's what everybody's talking about. So they were like, well, what is this about? They know this is kind of a way for you to kind of find out like what it's about. And also, I think for people now with streaming and things like that, now you can go back and listen to like old reviews about stuff, when you find it at the time. So for some people, they might kind of find stuff which is new to them,
right? But
the content's been out there for a while, so they go after they watch it, go listen to what other people have had to say.
Correct. The next episode is 3114 Baconflation. We got 9 comments on this one. Appia says Rod's parents are both so sweet, so funny, and supportive. It's really A plus 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 plus, at least from my perspective. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, this is the episode my dad was on.
Mm-hmm.
Eve says, I love when Pops Morrow is on. Your parents are always a pleasure when they're on, Rod. That gender wars almost got me. I actually almost believed it wasn't a skit because he had me saying homeless people deserve love too. That song, Wipe Me Down from Boozy, is not that damn good for anyone to be paying attention to what he has to say. In a world of uncertainty, there are two absolute things we can count on. Cockroaches will outlive us all, and the Boozy is always going to have something fucked up to say. Agreed on all counts. Shoe Booty says, I love when you have your parents on the show. I used to get sad about Father's Day because my dad passed when I was only 17. Our condolences, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm a mom, I can instead just find joy in celebrating my husband and what a great dad he is. Hearing your dad talk about your garden and fishing made me smile. Is exactly what my dad was into. He took so much pride in his garden. Happy Father's Day to Mr. Morrow and all the dads, stepdads, foster dads, pet dads, plant dads, and cat daddies out there. Shout out to them cat daddies. Some of them overlap. What I think is interesting is like we went out and watched baseball yesterday.
It was fun.
Is with my mom and my dad, which is a very American father-son type thing. So it's kind of ironic that Father's Day happened and then it's like, let's go to the game. Sean says, always great to hear from your father. Now I had to go check on my micro tomatoes. I'm growing and prepare to hybridize with purple tomatoes. All right. Get nerdy.
Oh, fancy.
Rona Raphael says, Papa Rod ain't lie. Gardening is great. Intergalactic gardener here who just graduated from basil to okra and watermelon. Now I got a full salad added to my book I'm writing. Start your garden or pre-order my book. You'll get it before George R.R. Martin books, I guarantee.
Oh, no.
Appia says, I love how more great black art will soon be existing because of this podcast and our great exchange. Girl, them books ain't never coming out. Don't y'all give
neither one of them books.
Y'all gonna be waiting on the things like Sean King t-shirts.
Oh no.
Key says, I went to Japan a few weeks ago, and one of the things our group did was take a day trip to Kyoto where we went to a samurai class and they showed us how to use the real sword. Maybe a week after I got back, someone posted the announcement about the program ending in our group chat. During the class, or maybe y'all was the reason. You was the last group. During the class, one of the things they tell you is control your swing and trust the sword. It's very sharp. Do not try to touch it and see how much, because it's a lot more than you think it is. Had they not specifically said that I may have tried to do that dumbass shit. Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. Yeah. And that's why they saw you looking at that sword. They said that's enough.
That's what they had to end the class. They're gonna be here trying to chop paper and shit. They was like, you can't be doing this. Get out of here.
We are playing with fire.
Right.
Keith says, I saw clips of this parade and how half-assed it was and how sloppy some of the formations were. And my veteran friends were chuckling at it because we know what it was. The thing is, parades and that sort of pageantry are for specific occasions, and the military takes that stuff seriously. So there's a lot of preparation and rehearsal that goes into it usually. So it's actually pretty shocking to see them not doing that, because that's basically a choice, a very disrespectful one at that. They can't choose not to go, but they can choose to not give a fuck about the president wanting a parade for his birthday, I guess. The energy was very, you want a parade? Okay, here's your parade, then damn. I didn't watch any of it, so I'll take your word for it.
That's hilarious.
Miss Barnes says, I love when we get the yeah, it is hilarious though. The idea of just soldiers marching and rolling their eyes.
Right. We're like, bitch, I got to be here, but what you ain't gonna get is left, right, left. You gonna get regular ass walking.
Looking like when your mama tell you go get a switch. Just walking, marching like that.
And the thing is, knowing Trump, he probably didn't give them enough preparation. I bet you told him about this shit 2 days in it. I guarantee.
Nah, they been known.
Oh, they been known.
He made a big deal about it, like when he was getting elected.
Okay, you know, I see what you're saying.
Like, the thing that's interesting about our military is that they are playing a big game of optics right now between the White House and the military. I don't think our military is truly on board with this, even if they are full of people who we would consider conservatives, right?
Right.
I'm not saying the military is like evenly split down the line, Democrat, conservative, but I'm just saying the military is a compulsory operation, meaning like you don't got no choice. And so the president is turning the screws on the military and being like, these people took a loyalty oath, so I am going to make them give me a march. But yeah, they don't know. These aren't. It's not 100% of people looking forward to giving him a march. It's a bunch of people who have to be there.
Yep.
Who are like, oh,
even
okay.
if nobody else shows up, they have to be there.
Right. So I think he's really making it like worse for a lot of people who are like, no, I'm not gonna quit, but yeah, I guess I gotta do this fucked up march. But I don't actually agree with him.
Agreed.
Miss Barnes says, I love when we get the yearly visit from your mom and dad. I always had the pleasure of meeting them both at the library and the live shows. They are just cool folks, and I always help myself to a pick to the other fabulous Morrows. Now, I wish I had that green thumb, because I spend money on house plants and herb plants only to kill them by overwatering them and feeding them Arby's. Yep, let's do it.
I think the Arby's gonna do it, baby.
Maybe one day I will have my own garden, but for now I can only settle for window plants. Nothing wrong. Start where you start. And then let's check YouTube and see what people had to say. We had 11 comments. Damn.
Woo! Y'all had something to say. I can't help myself, y'all.
The girl on the other side of the road said, not y'all putting the episode out earlier so Inez Harold can sleep now.
We got you covered, baby. Don't be up at no 3 a.m.
White entitled ignorant. WEI. So I guess instead of DEI, they got WEI. Dark Ninja Winky emojis. Rhea says, my favorite episodes are the annual Mother and Father Tips episodes. I usually catch the episodes live, but I was out being a good mom, helping my son move to Purdue University for his summer internship when the show was airing. Congratulations to your son. I, as an amateur gardener, I really enjoy your dad talk about the garden. I love both your parents' sense of humor. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's where I get it from. Damien says, it's crazy how far the Republican Party has fallen. I guess if you consider their history, it makes sense. But to see a party lie about being all law and order, family matters, so-called protecting children, make this power play throwing all pretenses is just crazy. Sorry, bro. I have zero room for Boosie after seeing how he treats his daughter. His comments about Cassie sounding in the same vein as his daughter, low vibration, zero sympathy, compassion. Yeah, and it's probably not responsible to say, but I'll say it anyway, because fuck it. The way he consistently talks just makes me feel like he got some shit in his closet somewhere. Like he's done horrible shit to people. Because I just don't imagine a person that goes that hard defending the indefensible treatment of people and then go, but obviously I treat everybody fair and nobody has anything to say bad about me. Like, nah, you probably fucked up, bro. Who knows when he'll have his day or if he'll have his day or what, but and maybe that's the thing. No one would be shocked. It's like 50 Cent when you find out someone's like 50 Cent assaulted me. It's like, well, yeah, he seems like a horrible person. So maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. Damien says, oh yeah, Target, wow, and then Walmart and the others miscalculated their anti-DEI stances because just as I was about to go to Target because Walmart ended their DEI programs, Target followed suit, and I haven't shopped at either since December. Inez says, happy Father's Day. Enjoy your special day. Coqui Negra says, I love it when Rod's parents are on the show. Miss Rose says Ms. Rose marked a specific moment and says, hey, I was singing that song while charging my baby's diapers. She's now 3 and she can sing no panties on her own. So I guess I ain't got no panties on.
Right. That's hilarious.
Drea the Sunflower Poet says, super dope gardening convo with dad. Thank you. I love your username. Jason says, your dad is so cool. Every time he's on, I always had the same thought. This guy rocks with Duke, right? Other than that, he's been a great dad. But I guess
his only downfall.
I guess everybody has their own
flaws.
Their own cross to bear. Some people's dads are abusive. Some people's dads aren't around. Mine was around, but he just was rooting for Duke the whole time. But despite that, I feel like he managed to raise a great son.
I do too. So and I'm glad he did.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate, As JL Covan says, smoothest voice in podcasting for my dad. So he loves my dad is a big JL fan, especially after seeing him live.
Yeah,
so that was like a cool thing to bring together, get him to see JL do his thing. It was worth it just for that. Haha, man, go Pacers. If Pascal wins this second ring, he might already secure a spot in the Hall of Fame. That means New Mexico State University, my school, will have a Hall of Famer. Honking the horn is always a risky move. People take it so personally. It's loud, pointing out their mistake. Honking the horn is automobile version of someone telling somebody to calm down. Even if it's warranted, it rarely de-escalates situation, right? My thing is, I use my horn so rarely. In the moments where I would like to use my horn, I be having trouble finding my horn
Okay, I thought I was the only one. Okay, so that happens to you too?
all the time.
Right, because I think with just being down south, knowing that people have guns and weapons and shit in their vehicles, and they have the right to do this, a lot of times I'll just sit. Like, I'll like, okay, I guess whenever you feel like paying attention. And so that's one thing that tripped me out when I was in New York. I was like, oh, y'all have guns here. This is why bum, 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 and all the aggressive ass language is because y'all don't have a fear of somebody whipping out no gun and blowing your brains out because you blew your horn at them. Like, it's a cultural difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe it's just because I'm patient, but I almost every time I go to use my horn, I have to find it and be like, even if I'm like, say I pull up to someone's house and they say, can you blow the horn when you get outside? I have to like park the car and be like, where the fuck, which one's the horn again?
Right. What area is the horn? Is it in the center?
Make sure I'm not hitting cruise control.
Right.
Anyway, the poll was, do you know how to garden? 44% yes, 56% no. Higher than I thought.
I'm terrible at gardening. If you want your plant to die, leave it in my care. I am 100% guarantee you it will meet its death.
The thing I'm wondering about when I see this is how many people think they could garden but can't. Now, I don't want to say y'all are lying, but I just feel like there's certain things where people say like, oh yeah, I could do that. And it's like, but do you do it, or do you just think you could do it?
Right.
No wrong answers here, but I have my leanings on why I think it's wrong, and I won't tell you. All right, let's go to the next episode, but first, more commercials. All right. Episode 3115. Thinking about that fish. Shoe Booty says, Karen.
Yes.
I had to stop myself from ordering lunch from the same place. Millburn Deli just opened a location by me here in Jersey, and I got lunch from there on Friday with my husband, then with my daughter the next day, acting like, there's a new sandwich place. Maybe we should check it out. Acting like I'd never been there. It's too good.
Yes, it's too good. I am so glad I'm not the only person that's like, I actually really do enjoy this, and y'all might see me again like real soon.
On the Trump phones, I guarantee there's some built-in spyware. There's no way those are just red, white, and blue made in America nonsense.
Right.
The scam don't stop. This is a physical spyware for sure. I just know it. Open your third eye. Yeah, I honestly I know they're gonna do it. I know they're gonna do it. I know they're gonna do it. But I won't be able to believe people are buying Trump phones. Like I'm already preparing my brain for the conspiracy theory it's gonna create that like China bought all the phones and I'm never gonna see one in the wild, and it's just a money laundering program between him and
and somebody.
No, Russia bought the phones. It's no way people. If you one of these dummies and I see you pull out a fucking gold phone in public,
right, a gold-plated phone.
I was at the grocery store and seen somebody in a MAGA hat or something, and they were like checking out, and it was funny too because he had on this bright red hat. Obviously, everyone can see it. You know, I'm in the grocery store and I'm checking out, self-checkout, and I'm walking that direction towards where he's having people wait on him. Couldn't tell. I didn't look to see if they were black people, but he did that thing where someone's looking at you, walk towards them, and and it wasn't like confrontational, but he was looking to see like, oh, is this guy about to clock my hat or whatever? And you know me, it's not gonna break my fucking brain in my day. Like, people like this exist. I'm from North Carolina. I know they out here.
Right.
But it was the way he immediately like broke eye contact and looked down that I was like, you bitch.
Right, you a cat. Wear if you gonna wear the motherfucker, goddamn wear it.
You bitch.
Don't half-ass it. Say it with your chest. You put this fucker on, not me.
Right, you bitch. Cause yeah, just what a bitch. I be walking around with my Kamala Harris shirt on and shit, man. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Like, I don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, people gonna vote how they vote, but stand in your shit, man.
And that's the part people don't want to do. They want to be associated with it. They want to be tied to it. They want to vote for it. But you don't want me to look at you and say you're a terrible ass human being. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know if it was about being a terrible human being or what. It's just that hat is a fuck you hat.
Yes, it is.
But he ain't have fuck you vibes at all. Anyway, it was just funny. Appia says, I think I never drove a car in Germany that had a gas tank on the driver's side. I had driven so many different cars because of company cars. I recently wondered if there are still gas tanks on the other side. Sean says there's an arrow, technically a triangle or a chevron, on the gas gauge that points the direction of the fuel tank. That being said, if the gas tank was always on the driver's side, would car companies have to make two different versions of every car? Because overseas, people drive on the other side of the road.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. They drive on the opposite side of the road.
Rona Raphael says, I voted no, but it doesn't matter, especially overseas, because I ain't buying no gas. I'm a guest. Entertain me, because should all the gas tanks be on one side of the car. By the way, as one who frequents the VA hospital a lot, I've witnessed a MAGA guy getting slapped by an OG, been in a room of black and Asian old heads cussing Trump as soon as MAGA walked in. Everyone stared at him and stopped speaking. It was like, all right, now I'll be heading to my next appointment. MAGA guy was like, hey, what's happening? Crazy times, right? Zero acknowledging. Everyone said bye to one another and left him. Veterans talk loudly at the VA. It's supposed to be a safe space, and it would be crazy for VA staff to follow that rule. At the same time, VA staff can use it to fuck with MAGA too on religious grounds, right? Then, of course, there'll be outrage. Fucking GLP.
Right.
Evie says, because if you said, that's the thing about discrimination. These fuckers are so fucked up and they're so selfish because it's never by the actual principle, meaning they never say, hey, if you would like to not take somebody as a patient because they're unmarried, that's okay. But also if they are married and you just don't want to wait on married people, that's okay too. Nah. They know what they're doing. Oh, well, you don't like someone because they're a Democrat, you don't have to take care of them, their health care. Oh, okay, cool. And if they're Republican, same thing, right? No, that's different. No, you got to take care of them. EVE says ICE has been all throughout my area, and I've been so worried for the hard workers out there trying to support their families. I think ICE got my parents' landscaping guy because one day he didn't show up and they never heard from him again. Damn. Oh. Well, also some people are leaving.
Yeah, they are. They're just packing up and leaving.
And not through like these programs of volunteer. Like a lot of this is about inflicting fear on a society of people and making it so uncertain that you just stop doing shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that
impacting whole ass communities.
Yeah, and that shit is gonna start showing up everywhere.
Mm-hmm. A lot of restaurants, a lot of construction, like it is a lot of things that's going to be impacted by
in every area. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, it's not stopping at just who y'all think it's going to stop at in our minds. So for where it's like agricultural jobs and kitchen jobs, I don't think this administration has a limited amount of xenophobia. I think they are going to actually go after people that are bigger up. Cabby Lang getting arrested. And there's other people that have been deported and you overstayed your visa. Like, this is not just we're trying to get rid of this undercurrent of like day laborers thing.
Agreed.
When Dump pushed so hard to deport so many people, he really thought black people would take those jobs the immigrants had. I would sell, right. That's another part of this plan that was insulting to me because so much of his Black pitch to black people was, I'm gonna get rid of immigrants and then you can get the immigrant jobs. And essentially saying black people should be doing menial labor because that's how they associate those jobs. They're going, black people can never be engineers. They can never be air traffic controllers. They can never be pilots of planes. That's DEI. Black people do not deserve that labor. They were given those jobs. They did not earn that job. But they can all pick cotton. They can all go out and get tomatoes. They can all cook in the kitchens. They want a black undercurrent for, or a black underclass, and the underclass based on blackness, not skill, talent, or a thing what you deserve and have earned. Strictly, black people should be seen, not heard. Back to the 60s type shit.
Agreed. And like I said before, and I will continue to say this, the goal is slavery. And so the goal is to slowly push black and brown and other people out of these positions. This is why they're trying to tear up educational systems. This is why they're trying to make it harder to get degrees. Like they purposely are making it so within the next 5 to 10 years, you're gonna have an entire generation, y'all, that think that this shit is normal. They're not gonna be able to see people in these higher up managerial positions and shit like this that look like them. Like that's the whole purpose. They want people, particularly the youth and children, they want their dreams to die. They want the light that people have filled their children with, that it can always be better and all that stuff. They want to stamp that out of the youth. You first frighten the parents, and they will pass that fear down to the youth, regardless of if they know that they're doing it or not. And so the goal is to make people think, or have a generation to think that black people and black and brown people are less than this subclass, because people were raised in this. So I know, these things can happen again if we allow them to.
Right. But yeah, I think some people think they're fucking gonna be like safe.
They do. And
I just don't think, I think a lot less people are, these are the test runs, and masked people who don't have to identify themselves are absconding with people whose citizenship is not really in question until they put it in question, meaning these are contributing members of society who've been here for years, and these people are literally trying to just kidnap them. And then fighting the government and losing in a lot of the cases because judges are saying you can't do this. But all this is them testing the civil rights, testing the system, seeing where the breaking points are. They're going to keep doing this, and they're going to get better and better at skirting, if not violating, the law. And so it just won't stop where people think it's going to stop. And like you said, the goal is slavery. And if that's the goal, I just want to volunteer some people to go in before I go, because I would like to see them at least be slaves for a couple of weeks before it's my turn. I was like, okay, can y'all do Tim Scott first? Like, I want to see his reaction.
Yeah, and also it's one of the things where I never thought it was a joke. I didn't ever think it was funny. The way people talk online, just being callous and very cold-hearted about a lot of the things that's happening to a lot of the Mexican and Latino people, because the thing is, if they challenge theirs, bitch, they'll challenge yours too. Give a fuck about you being black or brown. I've been here. A lot of them have too. A lot of them are fucking born and raised here. You're on the list next. They're gonna be like, bitch, we don't give a fuck about your birth certificate. Get the fuck out of here. Where you gonna go? They don't give a fuck. They'll ship your ass out of here too.
And they are going after black people too, like Senegalese people. And my question is this: if a Senegalese person is walking down my street and I'm walking down my street, how does ICE know?
Right.
How does ICE know which one of us is Senegalese and which one of us is American black? I don't know how they would know. They going by context clues. Like, fuck out of here. This shit is going to escalate. See, I would sell feet pics on the internet before I work in someone's field. Exactly, Evie. Me too. I'm a soft era person. I'd like to say I feel sorry for the farmers having a crisis because they no longer have help, but I can't bring myself to feel bad for something they voted for. I only feel sorry for the ones who didn't vote for Trump and are suffering. All Dump supporters can go to hell. Yeah, and I don't know which way these people voted, so yeah, who knows? We're all going to suffer together.
Yep.
Until it doesn't matter. Let's see. YouTube, thinking about that fish. We got 16 comments. All right. Dark Ninja, winky face emojis. Dark Ninja says Vanessa Del Rio, old school laughing emojis. Ramsey PH Dunn says, if you know, you know. Coqui Negra says, we know. Okay, I'll see where my freak's at now. Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm not ashamed of it, but I do know better than I don't want to be the face of this. But like that dude that does the like porn star reviews of like the top list and the Hall of Fame and stuff, I could do that. I have that much of a porn memory, but I just don't want to. I couldn't live with myself being the face of porn ranking in America. It just feels it's too much pressure, and I would like to like be able to go outside my house and do things. And
so that people consistently.
I don't want people to be like the porn guy.
Yeah,
you know, I like the other day I was at the gym and a guy who knows of the podcast, maybe he's heard me on the local radio. I was on the local sports radio Friday, and also he just knows me from playing basketball back in the day. I was in the gym, y'all, and I'm not joking. This guy stopped me and talked to me for an hour and some change about basketball, to the point where I had plans later that afternoon. I had to cancel them. And I don't mind talking sports. Like, I love basketball enough that I stayed and talked to him. But imagine that was like, hey, man, I noticed you left.
One of my favorite off the list.
I noticed you left Alexis, Texas off of the Mount Rushmore of Pogs. And when I was looking at your Pog ratings, I'm like, I don't know about this one, right? And then I'm sitting there in fucking the YMCA loudly yelling like, she wouldn't sleep with black men on camera. That's racist as fuck to me. I don't care if she was doing it in a private life. And people are like, these guys know too much.
This conversation is out of control.
And it's obvious that everyone knows a lot about porn just from the numbers.
Right.
It didn't become $1 billion industry
because nobody was watching.
We're not watching. And it doesn't have that list from Pornhub every year that reports all the trends and top stars because no one knows who those people are. We all know who those people are. We just don't talk about it in polite company. But yeah, I could do that. I don't know why I know so many of these references. I don't know why I remembered them is my point. Like, I watch a lot of Hollywood movies and I can't remember these fucking actors for shit. Like,
some of them, they look the same. I'm not even gonna lie.
There's like 7 Margot Robbies right now that I'm like, they all Margot Robbies to me. I'm like, oh, you mean Margot Robbie from what was the fucking My Name is Earl? And it's like, that's not the same. What? That's not the same Margot Robbie. I'm like, I was pretty sure that's the same Margot Robbie.
I thought that was the same woman for years, and they was like, that's not the same woman. I was like, fuck you, yes it is.
Yeah. So I don't, I don't know.
Look identical to her.
I don't know why I can't tell those type of people apart. But then when it comes to porn, I can tell for the most part a lot of porn stars apart. Although I will say there is a certain type of white woman I can't tell them apart. They all be the same white woman. No offense to them white ladies.
Same haircut, same body shape.
Yeah, it's not their fault. It's really the industry just wanting a certain type of white woman all the time. They could be walking down the street. I wouldn't be able to. I'd be like, they look familiar, maybe. That's it. But anyway.
I'd be like, I don't know her.
But yeah, Vanessa Del Rio, shout out to her. She's
old school.
Took it back to the to the early days. All right. She's one. The old school ladies, Kay Parker, Ebony Ayes, or Ayers, as many people misprinted on their VHS covers back then. I'm like, damn, people didn't even know how to spell the names. It wasn't no SEO back then.
Didn't have no internet.
But yeah, anyway, I know a lot of them. Nasty Knack says, teen anchors adult news. Welcome to the Teen News Network. Yeah, that dude was adorable. Ramsey PH Duns, as I broke my Target boycott this weekend and judged all the black and brown people, including me, who were in there working and shopping. Day 3 of the rebooted Target boycott. I don't know why y'all be confessing. If I went in there, I'd go to the grave with it. I'm not going in there, but if I was going in there, I would also talk like I'm not going in there. So y'all would never know. I'm not going in there. Fuck out of here. Let the blacks, they gonna be pulling this up on your black resume when you try to get into black heaven at the end of life. They're gonna be like, you was violating the target boycott. Now come on. You knew you was wrong for that. I hate a transgender war. That girl put zero effort in that video, and the fact you could see her reading but still couldn't deliver a decent story made me so angry. She was the worst. She was. Agreed. I look forward to hanging out with y'all, says Darnell. I don't know what that means, but hopefully that means you're coming to a live show at some point.
Yes.
It'd be funny if I say that and then he'd be in the gym like, hey, man, let me ask you this, brother. So you got Janet Jack me over Vanessa Del Rio?
How, Sway?
Or you got is your GOAT Vanessa Del Rio, Kay Parker, then Ebony Hayes? You said some things on the show.
I got some thoughts, sir.
I said I was gonna hang out with you. Remember me from the YouTube comments? This is what I like to talk about very loudly in public to everybody. Let me get your thoughts. All right.
I'm glad you did not pursue that, sir.
Let me get your thoughts on Queen Rogue. What's going on with that? AC Wells says, hey Rod, after purchasing Hoka Bondi 9s, I'm side-eyeing and looking down on my collection of Nikes and Jordans from the cloud like pedestal of my newly found comfort. After 2 weeks of wear, my calluses have finally shrunk and my shoulders don't hurt as much when I ride my bike. Thanks for endorsing these godsends.
Oof.
And Kokui says, are they really good? I'm thinking about purchasing. And he says, yep. Plus, they decrease the amount of shock that travels to your knees on every step. Oh, yeah, I swear by my Hokas, dog. I was wearing them today.
He loves them shoes.
I love my Hokas, dog.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy, because this feel like it's the opposite of all the flossing I grew up with. It was like, get these Jordans, nigga. These Jordans, they cost so much. People kill you with these Jordans. Then I got the Jordans, and I was like, my feet hurt. This sucks. All my other shoes feel better on my feet than my Jordans. But them Hokas, I've been seeing people with Hokas all my life, but I've always been like, fuck is them off-brand Jeepers?
What? I was looking like, why is the sole so big? I would be so goddamn confused. And no white people would be running and jogging and power walking on the fuck they got on their feet.
I be seeing black women with them. Like, I be seeing black people with them too. I mean, probably because we live in Charlotte. But my point being, like, I always thought, like, fuck, they get them Jeepers. They've been shopping at the Goodwill. Turns out, they were looking at my broke ass in my Jordans with my hurt feet. Like, look,
they was like, we got the Mercedes Benz of shoes, sir. You come here with some goddamn Honda.
They were looking at each other like, I know his arches is uncomfortable.
Right? They're like, I know his ankles hurt.
The other day, I was in the ice cream line and I saw a black lady with her family in Hokas, and then we both looked at each other's feet, and then we silently judged everybody else's feet. Like, look at these broke shoe, you broke shoe bitches. You out here just walking in those. That's what you do. Damien says, when I bought my Dodge Dart, they offered oil changes for life of the vehicle. Bruh, it's really nice. Pull up, let them go to work. No more money exchange. The price of the oil change is including the price of the vehicle. Yeah, I love it. Yep, I love it. I will be doing this forever.
We'll be utilizing it with the services we paid for and didn't know how to use.
Absurd Spoonful says, Rod, currently working through the same habit of giving up when people make it more complicated to get services I paid for and am qualified for. I smile an enormous smile every time you share a victory with us. Shout out to you, Absurd Spoonful. I'm telling you, some people got it and it's not a big deal for them, but for me, it is a big deal. And I think I'm not alone in struggling with that.
No, it's not. Different personalities.
You know, I also... this is like a not of my age problem. Like, I don't know, but it's just my life. This is just how I operate. I fucking hate when it's a phone call instead of just like a text or an email or a message system where they like, you got to call to do this. My dentist had some bills they sent to the house that I wanted to pay. I'm like, y'all don't have a website? I can just go online and pay this bill like I do everything else.
Yeah.
It's like, call us and tell us your credit card number over the phone. I'm like, okay, am I gonna put the rotary phone? Am I gonna have to fucking dial 0 and then say, operator, connect me to Dr. So-and-so? Like, this is some old school bullshit. And I almost was like, I'll just wait till my next checkup and I'll pay then. But I was like, you know what?
Spot.
Fuck it. I called them and I did it over the phone because I don't like money hanging over me. Mm-hmm. And also, like, regardless of how you pay, like there's a certain amount of time where they start adding interest to your bills. I'm like, how am I gonna be paying interest on a bill because I was too afraid to call because I was like,
I'm costing myself more money.
Yeah. So I just made my mind up. Like, if I don't care if I have to stop by the office in person, that this shit getting paid this week. So anyway,
I'm glad you did. They sent the little receipt in the mail and everything.
Coqui Negro says just get to work. Probably talking about the politicians we were saying, all the complaints. Hey, this is Alesco with a long comment. Hey guys, been a while. So I dropped by in the comments to pop off, so here goes. The Trump phones, Qatar jet thing is funny because you see people saying stupid stuff like, why didn't Biden protect us? Why didn't the Dems put up guardrails to prevent something like this from happening? They ignore all the times Dems proposed bills that tried to fight political abuse, like limiting campaign donations. Folks really develop amnesia when it comes to Democrats' efforts to govern. 80 to 90% of the stuff we say Dems should have done, they did, and they either got outvoted or SCOTUS struck them down.
Yes.
Come through, Ella, Sco.
Yes. Speak facts. Speak facts. And not trying to be funny. This is why I hate talking to dumb people, because they just say shit and you be like, none of the shit you're saying is true.
Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying too, because people will say stuff like this, including Bernie Sanders. And I'm like, everybody who has tried to pass this is a Democrat.
Yes.
So like, while you're pretending you're the only person that ever had thought about this and the Democrats are just as bad, the people that were fighting Citizens United were Democrats. And now what happens is something like that passes. Corporations are allowed to give unlimited funds to super PACs and to candidates. And then we go, well, to be moral, the Democrats should not take any of that money and just leave that money to Trump and them and just accept the losses. But at least they went down with dignity. It's like, once the rules of the game have been fucked over,
you have to adjust.
We're now all playing the fucked over rule games.
Yep, we have to adjust.
Secondly, I like Karen's point about voting. You vote so that the hard stuff becomes easier. I had this thought the other day, seeing as we're all NBA basketball fans and we're all the apex of basketball season, I see voting the same way as making your free throws. It's supposed to be the easiest part of the game. When a team loses by less than 5 points, they miss 15 free throws. No one says, wow, if only he made that tough fadeaway. Why didn't he shoot the threes instead of twos? After 2016 and 2024 elections, all we've been hearing is the arbitrary stuff like messaging, which states weren't prioritized, which podcasts would have helped, what issues and demographics were ignored. But you bring up voting, and one thing that's directly egregiable, I think, and directly leads to winning, maybe aggregatable or something. Anyway, leads to winning, and we have full control over. Not really. It's like they put not really, not me. It's like you're being too simple, or you're carrying water for politicians. Come on. It's like progressives are an NBA team that complains about foul grifters like SGA for shooting too many free throws, but they refuse to attack the paint or just flat out miss their free throws. Someone like me believes they don't want to even go to the line. They'd rather shoot threes and long twos because they think our liberation will be purely won by purely protest. Oh wait, twos because I'm sorry, I read a line too. This is a big chunk of text. Anyway. They rather shoot threes and long twos because they think they're too good to win by going to the line. Same way a lot of leftists believe voting is risk averse, oppose the system like playing the white man's game and appealing to the moderate. They think our liberation should be won purely by protest, boycotts, and anarchy. Right. And honestly, as we are seeing, there is not nearly enough. And that's not a knock on the people who are protesting. That is as you can tell, this is not a every city is shut down situation. This isn't hey, there's not enough National Guard or military to quell the amount of resistance that we are putting up under Trump. That ain't what happened. Even with these organized, well-done protests and great representation, I love to see it. Even with this anarchist idea that we were going to get like this very active populace, it's not coming to fruition. And no one's coming up to go, I think I overplayed my hand. I thought we would be having this very voluminous resistance, and it's not happening. Maybe I have to go back to the drawing board and start looking at turning out the vote and looking at some political answers from within the system, because the outside the system shit is not putting the pressure on Trump that they said it would.
Right. And also the thing is the way our system is designed, you have to you have to agitate inside and outside. It cannot be just one.
Right.
I'm sorry. I understand there are people whose whole thing is I will always be outside of the system. That's great. Do your job and agitate it. But somebody got to be inside the system and knows how it runs, understands how it functions, and can actually be a representative for the agitator on the outside. If the agitator on the outside agitate enough and get people's asses out to vote, they could give the person on the inside the power to do the shit that they need to do. This is how the bullshit works. It is not one or the other, it's both. You have to have both. And right now, people just want to be outside and be angry and be mad. I get it. I'm frustrated. I'm mad. I'm upset. But you also need to give the politicians the power to do what we want, to do what we need for them to do. And I think for me, and I will continue to say this, and it irritates me when people go, and I understand this system is not perfect, but especially when people bring up third parties, I don't want to hear any of that. We have a two-party system. I understand you want a third party, but then y'all do something. And I'm talking about do something like start winning school boards, start winning dog catchers, start winning mayors, start winning Senate, start winning House. Start winning these seats and yanking it out of other people's goddamn hands, and then people will pay you attention. Start having enough out there so that when it's time to run for president, you can actually have the percentage of votes so that people can take you seriously. Until I see that happen, I don't want to hear anything about a third party because I've been around long enough. Y'all motherfuckers been talking about a goddamn third party forever, but you don't do shit. Every time I turn around, it's goddamn Jill Stein and all these other grifting ass motherfuckers that don't do shit. And the only time you see them is when it's time to vote. That's the only time. Every 2 to 4 years, that's when you see them.
Every 4 years.
Yeah, every 4 years. So for me, I don't want to see it.
And I would even say not time to vote, time to get money.
Yes,
not even time to vote. When it's time to get the money, they there. When it's time to actually vote, they don't be there no more.
They don't. I feel the same way about them like I do about the undecided voters. Your asses only show up. I never hear about an undecided voter doing the mayoral election or in the Senate vote. Like nobody puts cameras in their goddamn face. Like, how do you feel about the mayor? No, bitch, it's only when it's time for the president. No, you know who you're going to vote for. Stop wasting our time. And I feel like this with the third party. Until y'all take it seriously, I can't take you seriously.
Here's a bitter truth we need to accept. We need to stop pretending that only MAGAs are misinformed idiots. We on the left have our share of idiots, misinformed or doing the misinforming. It's like you say, a lot of us don't stop and think we might be products of the algorithm, especially a lot of us progressives. We love to laugh at the MAGA folks, call them zombies cult followers. We're not aware we are becoming cult followers to certain ideas. I could not agree with you more. I keep yelling this from the rooftops. I hope our podcast has been consistent enough on this that people will take that away from our show. If nothing else, if we just even woken a few people up, I hope we have, because I think when you're in that ecosystem, when you're in that silo, that information silo, anything outside of it feels like an attack. And that's how conservatives end up having the QAnon phenomenon. Is like, you listen to podcasts about those people and their families and shit, you will find that people tried to like reach out to them, but they had been so Q-pilled or whatever, that red pilled, that everybody who wasn't down was just part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So if I say, hey man, this whole thing where Hillary Clinton is a Democrat that kills and eats babies is not real, that is some sort of hyper misinformation lie that is happening, they will be like, oh, Rod is a beta cuck soy boy,
whatever phrase
something, the things that everyone said people's families are, and people on the left just don't think that's happening to us. They just think, but I do identify with this cause. Well, that's how they get you. You identify with the cause, and then next thing you know, you're in the Russian propaganda, like this why I don't vote ass thing, and that's all they ever cared about, is getting you to not vote.
Agreed.
They don't really care about you or the country, and they're not solving these problems. I hate to make this point over and over, but I don't think I'll ever regret making this point, which is what we are watching happen with Gaza is the fruition of that propaganda machine being weaponized on the left, and many of us absconding from voting and letting things get even worse while pretending that we made something better.
Right.
And you don't see people coming to grips with that. You see a lot of something Democrats, something two sides of the same coin.
Excuses.
It wasn't, well, how do we know this? I personally, and look, I don't live in another reality, so I can't prove it in a different multi-dimension where we did vote the right way. But I personally think this is worse than anything that would have happened under Harris and anything that was happening under Biden. And I don't think it was trending this way and it would have been the same. I actually think this is worse. I think there is a complicity to a lot of people who have convinced themselves that they are morally above being responsible for what America does. Right. And to me, there's two types of people, right? Three types of people. There's people that recognize what America is capable of in the bad way, and they want more of it, and they want it to be bad, and they don't give a fuck about nobody outside of us, and very little about the people inside of us too. Then there's people who are like, well, head in the sand. I'm not participating in this system. And even if I see America is going to be the worst it can be, if I didn't vote, then it means I didn't cause it. And then there's people like me, people like Karen, people like many of you who are like, I'm not going up for America. I'm not saying it's all puppy tails and what I'm saying is this shit can get real bad. We need to make sure it's not as bad as possible at all times.
Not as bad as it could be.
That's it. I don't think we're giving some hopeful, optimistic, or denialist message. I think we're giving the most realistic message possible right now, which is we don't come up here and make flowery ideal speeches. We be like, okay, if we have this person as president, some of the poor people will eat. And if we have this person as president, none of the poor people will eat.
None of them.
I'm going to vote for the one who's going to try to feed some poor people who has a goal in mind of feeding all the poor people.
Right.
And I'm going to do what I can to make it so that it is easy as possible for them to feed more and more poor people every time.
Right.
That's my goal. I didn't see this other third option on the table. It was like, here's the perfect answer. There isn't one happening.
Right. And that's the reason why like I said, it irritates me when people talk about this third fictional option that was never there.
Lastly, did you notice the eggs and grits? It's grits and eggs, but that's funny. Did you notice?
I do that too. Don't feel bad.
Did you notice the eggs and grits guy had a momentary slip up on Twitter? He was getting fried, and I immediately remembered that you two called it. He was being put on a pedestal, and we shouldn't be surprised he tripped up. Actually, he said some stuff about MLK that came off as disrespectful, but he apologized and walked it back, blamed it on the alcohol. Not the alcohol. Stay safe. Keep up the good work. Actually, let me refresh real quick because I think my comments are. Is the last comment Jamie Priestley to you?
I got Mary.
Some weird virtue thing, living in the Delulu world? Okay, well, maybe you do need to refresh. All right. Yeah, it's been acting up in the chat, guys, so we have to refresh every once in a while to see y'all's stuff, comments. But what I was going to say is the grits and eggs dude, it's not like I was predicting. I'm not predicting he's going to be fucked up or have a downfall. It's just, this is the thing I'm saying. Because I don't have anything against the dude. I truly am rooting for that dude. And I hope he marks at least a balance to this podcasting space that has become over inundated and over indexed with just black men who hate black women, but don't think they hate black women, but make content that clearly hates black women.
There's a lot of that out there.
And look, I know some of these dudes. I listen to the show, and this is why I have to depart with most people and remind y'all take a sip of a drink, take a shot. I'm an empath, a real one, not a for show TV for play just to get my way
You a true
empath.
one.
So I listen to shows and it could be fine for me. I've had this conversation with friends of mine where I'm like, oh yeah, I listened to that episode or whatever. Hey, do you still listen to the show? Yeah, I do. And it's like, well, what about their issues talking about this, and this? And I'll be like, oh yeah, they're horrible on that. And if you stop listening because of that, you should not come back.
Right.
Like, because I think what people's natural instinct is to do is to defend their choices and to be like, well, if I'm listening to it, you should listen to it because I'm a good person. And my thing is like, no, if that person says offensive shit about, say, whatever marginalized group, and you don't listen because they did that, and I'm still listening, but recognizing that they still do that, I'm not going to lie to you and be like, well, you should stop being uptight. No, you were right and they were wrong. And they're able to continue to operate that way.
Right.
And just be horrible about people and to people and think it's part of the product. So anyway, all that to say, it's weird that this guy got to go because the group he was quote unquote horrible to on his podcast was him being like, black men can do better. And I'm sorry if you can't accept that kind of balance, because everybody who's mad at him absolutely has and will listen to podcasts that say something bad about black women, and they will not be outraged. They will not call those people out. They will not write in. They will not threaten to stop listening. They won't call those guys ops. They will just sit there and be like, ha ha, niggas being niggas or whatever. So like, give him the same grace is all I'm saying. That being said, of course he's gonna mess up because he's human,
right?
And he has more of a spotlight on him than he had before. And to me, you learn more about how these folks are by how they react to that moment. Most people think, oh no, you measure the person by like they have to always be right. No, that means nothing. You measure the person when they're wrong, because that's the real them. How they deal with being wrong. And it's gonna keep happening, and it could become like a trend or what, because you're never gonna be right all the time. But how you make amends, how you talk to the people you disagree with,
right?
How you show up after you fucked up, that stuff. Because I've seen guys do the milkshake duck before too, where they say something and it sounds like they spitting, and then they get called to the carpet, they make a mistake, their personal life, and all of a sudden they're, it's like Louis C.K., where it's like, actually guys, liberals are assholes. And you're like, you were the main figure of all the liberal comedians. Yeah, but once they said I couldn't pull my dick out, fuck them motherfuckers. And it's like, oh, so maybe you weren't really about it in the first place. Derek Jackson used to be in the car pandering to all the black women. And I have to say pandering because he wasn't living his raps and he was cheating on his girl and shit.
Yes, he was.
His wife. So like, yeah, it could be that shit too, is my point. And you really never know. So I never try to like push those guys too much, to be like, look at this guy, he's doing great. And I also never try to tear those guys down too much, because it's like, you'll find out what they're about eventually.
Yes, you will.
All right. Jason says, hey Karen, enjoy that fish as often as you want, or as often as you can afford. Man, I've never been bold enough to get anything with the menu listed as market price. That's the restaurant's way of saying you want it or not. That executive
it is, ain't it? Do you want it or not?
That executive order saying doctors can refuse to treat people based on political views is just one more instance of old boy trying to purge the military of anyone not loyal to him. Scary stuff. And the Trump phone is wild. I wouldn't be surprised if it's successful, simply because it should be really easy to compete when you can literally strong arm every company, distributor, and manufacturer because you're king. Yeah, but it also will require a level of competence and honesty that I don't see coming from Trump. So to think that $500 phone with the $47 plan is rolling out and it's not going to be any Like it's just gonna be the way he says to me is already giving him too much.
Oh yeah, that's not gonna happen, Chad. They're gonna charge your card 18 times.
Something's gonna be
you're gonna
up.
Try to end the service. It's gonna be impossible to end once they have your shit. Yeah,
phone ain't gonna work. Something,
child. Yeah, your signal gonna go down when you get on the other side of Sugar Creek Road. It's gonna be a mess.
Yeah, I just think we give him too much credit sometimes. And he needs to prove it. Although it's highly unethical, a conflict of interest, and an embarrassment for the country, I'm not all the way mad at the Trump phone. I'm here for as many MAGA identifiers as possible. So far, we had the red hats, the Cybertruck, and now the phone. I just hope the other companies develop the capability so that whenever someone calls from a Trump phone, their number's automatically blocked. That's funny. The poll for this episode was: should all gas tanks for cars be on the driver's side? Yes or no? 78% say yes, meaning only 22% said no. So most people agree with Karen.
Yeah, it's just more convenient because most of the time the driver is normally going to be the one pumping the gas.
You're right, Karen. I hear you. Unless it's you driving.
Right? Yeah, don't matter what side. Yeah, then because I'm not. I'm not doing it.
That's what I thought.
Because I'm bougie.
All right.
It's your fault.
All right. Last episode of the week, 3116, discuss the Pusha T. Let's see who we got here. 6 comments. Appia says, I don't know how people don't see that when groups different from them are losing rights, they are losing too. But this is something I stored in my head as don't understand but must accept as reality among some other things. That you are not a trans person, a woman, a person of color, a gay person, a child of immigrants. It's just a coincidence. It's not something you had anything to do at the distribution. It could absolutely be you or your child. I'm an immigrant myself, as you know. And when my parents decided to leave Poland when I was 12, the decision was made for me. This is how I became someone who was an immigrant for the rest of my life with all the pros and cons. Exactly. Shoe Booty says, Costco hoes unite. We calling ourselves Coschoes. But yes, Shoe Booty, we are here. The elite feeling of having a Costco card and TSA pre-check /clear. I get classism now. Sorry.
Right? Yes, the only reason why I don't have clear, bitch, because we don't got that at the Charlotte International Douglas Airport. Because I thought about getting clear too.
My husband just let me know they're having exclusive hours for the executive card members, which we somehow got upgraded to. I don't know how it works. I'm passenger princess of going to Costco, but yeah, they're giving early hours again for only executive card members to shop without hordes of people.
Shit, I might upgrade.
Classic R&B Love says 2 things. Costco gas is great. Although I live in New York, I'm certain this is true for other parts of the country as well. Costco gas is cheaper than at traditional gas stations. As for the lines, don't let them overwhelm you. Costco usually has more pumps. My local Costco has 14 pumps, so even with the lines, things typically move quickly. Everything you and Karen say about the Democrats and Republicans is true. Democrats might not be united, but there is typically no wholesale desire to destroy everyone or everything that is not them.
Right.
Republicans, on the other hand, are the group who will blow up their entire house in an effort to get one bug they thought they saw, because destruction, or if anything, not them, not only makes sense, but is desirable. Pamela M.A. says, Costco has been the club. That's why I'm no longer a member. I ain't mad at them, but membership to me is not worth the hassle. Long lines to get in and out of the parking lot, lines to get into the building, and long lines to check out. Y'all got it. Yeah, we'll see, man, because I'm not going to lie. We went on a Tuesday and it was jumping, and I'm like, if this is a ordeal, then I can see myself not using the membership. Like, I'm not a wait an hour to get into a grocery store person. I don't like, I'm a very convenience person. I like a hop in and hop out situation pretty much all the times. And especially if it's not well, no, I had to do that because I am the person who buys 40 ramen noodles at once. So I have to go get my 40 ramen noodles. Like, that's different. Like, cause then it's like, well, so I'm gonna fucking go. But if it's just like, I'm waiting 2 hours to get a rotisserie chicken versus go to Publix and get one in 5 minutes, yeah, I can see myself being like, oh, I'm good on this. But I'm gonna give it a shot anyway. And because of how, where we live and how my hours are with work. I will try to find times where it's not busy and see, if it's not as bad. Ms. Barnes says, was I the only one who giggled when Karen said Coschoes? LOL. I decided that I had enough of Sam's Club and all their disorganization at the gas pumps when I can come to Costco's and enjoy scanning my car at the entrance. The pinwheel deli sandwiches and organization and efficiency of the gas pumps, it feels like I upgraded from a side piece to a spouse, and it is diverse.
Oh, shit now.
EVE says, at my Costco, the parking lot is full 20 minutes after it opens Monday through Sunday. Damn. Don't know what it is, but you got to go early or it will be crowded. I love Costco, but dang, there's a BJ's and Sam's Club in my area as well, but it's always Costco that's full. Thankfully, I have an executive membership, which allows me to shop an hour before regular members. I don't mind paying extra money for this executive membership because of the perks I get at the check. I get a check at the end of the year based on how much I spent that year, so the membership pays for itself. Plus, Costco is good in a pinch if you want something cheap to eat. A big slice of pizza and a fountain drink for less than $4. You can't beat that. Costco is elite. Yeah, I saw people that when we put up that were just there getting lunch.
That's all they were doing. They were sitting over at them tables going to town, wasn't they?
Let's check YouTube for comments on this episode. We got 9 comments. YouTube's been bumping lately.
Shout out to y'all.
Someone says, so much that at a specific minute mark. I don't remember what we were saying, but thank you. Damien says, there's no way in hell this is a business decision. What business spends money on that product and turns around and tries to destroy said product? Even Elon trying to sell those trash ass trucks, even though they're held together with silly string, unless that business is white supremacy. I don't know what business we was talking about. It's been a while, but yes. That girl on the other side of the road says, attacking affirming surgeries from people who look like this is crazy. Republicans are having affirming surgeries like they're in a competition with trans people. News, they're winning. Plus, I hate how successful they were making affirming therapy only around hormones and surgeries and hiding the psychological part, which solves all the issues people have with transitioning, or that transitioning is a one-way street and there's no going back. If a person transitioned and then felt this wasn't the best decision for them, they could just undo it. Yeah, and I'm sure there are people that are gonna write it and be like it's more complicated, but I think that's because almost everybody, when they think of gender affirming surgeries, is very, it's childish, but it's human. Everyone just thinks of genitals,
right? But it's
like, but you can't just put it back on or whatever. Like, that's not necessarily. We're talking about children and hormones,
right?
If it was something where it was like, actually, I don't think this is right for me, because it's a constant process, you have to continue it. You can be like, I want to go off the hormones. I actually do want to go through puberty. I do, like, it's just, we're in a fucked up bad place. And yes, it is funny that people don't think of cosmetic surgeries as gender affirming. And I know there's people that don't, in their minds, they found that distinction to be blasphemous, but I think it's important.
Yes.
I think if it is weird that Margie Taylor Greene can get work done on her face and then be like, but a person who is trans should not be able to take hormones. Like Lauren Boebert can go and get giant honking flammable titties or whatever the fuck is happening to that, and then get finger banged to Beetlejuice. But then it's like somebody that wants to transition and be like, hey, I would like to take this type of medicine or something. It's like, no, fuck you. You don't get to do that. Right. Now let me go get some fucking lip fillers and a bunch of other weird plastic surgery that all these Republicans keep getting.
Yep.
I think Pusha T is talking about Kylie Jenner, Travis Scott's ex-girlfriend. She's the youngest sister of Kim Kardashian. They had 2 kids together, but now she's dating Timothée Chalamet, the guy from Dune. Thank you for that update.
Thank you.
White people news.
Yep.
Darnell says, love y'all. That girl on the other side of the road says, first gender war deserved a 10 because that man really made me angry. And Ned says, 4 hearts. Cokie Negro says, excellent points always, Karen and LGBT news. And Jason says, You might have turned me around on the new Superman joint, y'all. I hadn't seen the trailer yet. It looks like they're finally giving him some Tony Stark, Peter Parker style. Making the statement that original ideas are braver than sequels is perfectly fine as a standalone statement. I don't think anyone can disagree, but they can never leave it at that. They always have to then diminish the sequels, which quite frankly keep the lights on.
Right.
That gender wars with the brothers just standing out in the street talking about bitches and hoes was pretty bad. It was basically a 90s rap song without the beats or rhymes. I could just listen to Doggy Style. Right. Yeah, at least they had Nate Dogg on that.
Right. At least you had a bop on your hands.
And as far as the we all agree that original ideas are braver than sequels. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone's like fighting these. That's what's so weird is that they turn it into like an either or thing. It's like clearly this is an economy that is based on a lot of things needing to work at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Because your passion projects actually aren't $1 billion ideas. And that's unfortunate, but it's the truth. So we can live in this artist world of like, I just want to like create, man, and like make art that's just like, you know, totally speaking to like the human experience. Like, cool, bro. 12 people want to see that. So let's hope that the theme keeping the theater open isn't your 12 people idea. That's all. Like, we love for it all to blow up, but it's not enough room for everything to blow up. So yeah, and not just not enough room, but there's not enough people that want to see it blow up the way you think they should. They don't.
I agreed.
Are you a Costco member? I was shocked at the results. The results of this poll will shock you.
Okay.
53% yes, 47% no.
So it's a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I mean, I know people go to Costco's,
Mm-hmm.
and you know it's been around forever. You know, BJ, Sam Clubs, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just one of them things where they've been kind of an institution.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really surprised.
I'm surprised as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get to some voicemails, and I'll play some more music, and we'll be right back, everybody. Let's see. What is it? Give me a song. How about that?
You know what we're here for?
Psycho.
Music.
I want to call you one.
Peach wine and Bill Butch.
A what now?
Peach wine and Bill Butch body. Peach wine and Bill Butch body.
A what now?
Peach wine and Bill Butch body.
Is it okay if I call it one?
Peach wine and Bill Butch body. Peach wine and Bill Butch body.
Is it okay if I call it one?
Voicemails. Like we got 4, but we'll see, because a couple of these I'm like, are these for us? All right, here's the first one.
These for us.
Dre.
They say no sound.
Oh, I forgot. I had to switch browsers. Give me a second, guys. I gotta open up another browser so y'all can hear the sound. I hate when this happens. All right, let's see. So I had to start it over again.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys let me know if you can hear this now.
What's up, y'all? It's Stray. I'm listening to episode 3116, and it's called to discuss the Pusha T, but I swear it should just be called LGBTQ news till we get mad. Because, man. But anyway, it made me think of a few things. The first thing, we were talking about how that those trans issues and those small little niche issues are those on-ramps to conservatism for people. I think one of the biggest reasons people fall victim to that is because they really misunderstand what they are voting for what they would do. So like what I mean by that is when someone is voting against the ability to give gender affirming care to children, it's because they're thinking, I would not allow my child to seek gender affirming care, which is their right.
Agreed.
For your child, that is your right to do. We can debate about whether you're right or wrong in that, but that's your kid. I think if people understood the question that was really being asked is, do you think the government should be able to make the decision for you whether or not your child receives gender affirming care? You would see a resounding difference in the way people approach their voting process. And that's with abortion, with all these other things. If they really realize that the question is not, would you abort your child at 8 months? Would you abort? It's not about what you would do or what you think is right or wrong. It's about whether you think that a group of people who run the government, the same people who are supposed to get you your motherfucking driver's license on time, do you think they should be making that decision? I think that is just one of the biggest things. Mm-hmm. And there was some other shit, but I will honestly have to go back and listen to where you was at to remember it. And maybe I will and I'll call back, but I'm going to definitely end this now in case I call back. Cause I'm leaving multiple voicemails. They can't be that long because I'm no asshole. Love you guys.
I appreciate your thoughtfulness on that. And yeah, I agree. It's one of the things it's one of the reasons that I say, even with like the conservatives in our country, they're not really conservatives. And I don't mean that in like, they're not for conservative value, but they're not for the values that Reagan and them claimed to have, which was this whole like small government shit. Like Reagan and them lied. They made government worse and bigger and more intrusive, and it's happening again and again and again. It's just, yeah, it's really fucking sad. But yeah, I feel you on all of that. All right, he called back.
Reagan, I remember. So what I was gonna say was, the other thing you were talking about is how people think that our issues don't impact one another. When you talk about trans issues impacting gay issues, impacting women's issues, impacting black issues, like how all these things are interconnected. I think one of the main reasons why people fail to understand that is because they do not understand that the version of whiteness that dominates here in America is very unique and intentionally cultivated in order to separate the few people who maintain power and money in this country from all the people who can actually, or who should actually be making the decisions about it. Mm-hmm. That whiteness that was created long ago to make sure that poor whites and enslaved blacks or recently freed blacks did not realize that they had so much in common. That same whiteness is what all of these things are actually designed to protect. That marginalization of anything other than, it doesn't stop at trans or gay or woman or black or white, even for that reason, because the whiteness we are talking about is not actually your literal skin color. It's a whole facade that was made up specifically to milk all of the resources from a capitalist society. And it's just like that is the framing that I feel like you should have as a citizen of America. Like, if you don't understand that that's what America is, you'll always make bad decisions and you'll always fall for the bullshit because you won't really realize why the bullshit exists. You'll think that you think that trans issues have something to do about like Christianity or like God or something. It has nothing to do with that. It's literally just about keeping you talking about some other shit so you don't start paying attention to the fact that these motherfuckers are taking everything.
Yes.
Okay, that was it. Love you guys. I'm out for real this time. Peace.
I don't have shit to add. 2 excellent voicemails. I agree with everything you just fucking said. And that framing is so important because that's how I look at that. That's how I look at it. Mm-hmm. Like it, and you would think that'd be universal framing. The problem is that there's a lot of people who are just using those as code words. Hey man, I'm for little government. I don't want it in the bedroom. I don't want it. And then it's like as soon as they get into power, they like, actually, I'm for government in the bedroom. You guys need to have the sex the way I want y'all to have it. All right, here's the next voicemail.
Hi, Ron and Karen. This is Jada from Atlanta. I just wanted to say thank you for the Curb Your Enthusiasm recommendation. I just started watching the show, and it's really giving me much needed laughs. My favorite episodes so far have been the one where Cheryl's aunt dies. the newspaper messes up the obituary. The one with the chef that has Tourette's. And then I say to the one where I think it's the one with the doll head that Larry ends up cutting off there. So I just really see the appeal of the show. I just love it. Like every episode, I kind of getting the formula for the show now. Is like you're thinking like, oh, all these are like coincidences or whatever, but then you just realize like, okay, this is gonna come back around, and Larry is gonna mess this up.
Yes.
Some kind of way. So love the recommendation and love the show, guys. All right. Bye.
That's I haven't finished watching the series, but that's Roderick's jam.
So glad. Anytime I can make another person a Curb fan, it makes my fucking day. And there's some great episodes. I think, first of all, if you ask me tomorrow, my mind would change. But I think the Crazy Eyes Killer one is one of my favorite. What you mean? We not cool latte? I think that was one of my favorite. And then the one where that little boy is obviously gay, but he's a little kid and everybody thinks Larry's tripping. And then the other thing I was thinking about is how often in that show, one of my favorite tropes is like the reverse of the Larry doing like not doing enough trope is whenever he does do too much. Like, for example, I was thinking like he's the kind of person that'll come in and be like, as a gag or whatever, they'll be like, hey, do you notice that your tables are made of wood, and that's why they keep getting all these rings on them when people put their cups on it and they put the coasters, and you don't have enough coasters? Have you ever thought about a table made of coaster material or something like that? And it's in the beginning, and of course the person argues like, Larry, that's ridiculous, da da da. And then by the end, like he'll come in the restaurant and then the tables are all made of coaster or something, and it's like, oh, they took Larry's idea, and then he's like, you see, my idea worked. It was great. And then like some other unforeseen thing happens, like they set a plate on top of a coaster table and the table breaks under the pressure because coasters aren't made of strong material. And then it's like, Larry, you fucked this up. It is like him being like, let me get out of here or whatever. That's one of that never gets old for me.
I think out of the ones I've seen so far, one of the funniest ones for me was the one he was standing in line for voting, and I think he ended up leaving and not voting, and the person ended up losing by like one vote. Yeah, and they found out it was him. Yeah, that was fucking hilarious.
And he had to find another person that didn't vote, so he could be like, we both decided not to vote. In the line. Yeah,
because he was complaining the whole time about how the line was too long. He was like, it ain't gonna make that big of a difference. It ended up making all the difference.
I loved it. All right, here's the last voicemail for the week.
Hey Rod, hey Karen. I was just calling to comment on episode 3116, YG stating that 90% of men have been sexually abused. I totally believe that. I've dated a few guys who I guess they thought they were a man because at the age of 14 he had a 25-year-old girlfriend. Even one guy, he was living out on his own, 16 years old, had an apartment and with a 32-year-old woman, and you know, he had this toxic masculinity thing going on.
I'm pausing real quick to say this reminds me of Juice. Remember that movie Juice?
Mm-hmm.
And like one of the things was like GQ moved out. He was still in like high school, and we were supposed to all be like, oh, he got a bad grown woman though. And I'm like, we were putting it in the movies and being like celebrating it. Whereas, you know, I think recently I watched the Roxanne Shante movie during the pandemic, and it was a threat. Like these older men being around this young girl was like, whoa, this will not end well. But yeah, when you flip the genders because of patriarchy in our society, I'm not blaming any gender, any one person. It is amazing.
It's not appeared as dangerous. It doesn't appear. You don't have the same person going after their prey, but that's
and we don't care. And we don't care because like a thing I always try to stress, and I don't mean this in a dismissive way. I mean this to state to people how much of a gendered idea this is. If you listen to how we talk about like a 14-year-old boy, 15, 16-year-old boy having sex, those terms, having sex with a teacher and they're underage, there's a lot of like, well, what 14-year-old boy wouldn't want that? I mean, shit, she looked good. Well, I wish I could do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the inconvenient part of it, and it's all about gender and how we look at gender. 14, 15, 16-year-old girls want to have sex too.
Mm-hmm.
Their hormones are going crazy too.
Yes, they are.
They're not all wilting violets and all this shit. That doesn't mean we empower that impulse and be like, and if a grown ass person want to have sex with you, that's okay. We all understand when it comes to girls, like, that is not right.
Right.
Don't give a fuck. You're 14. Sit your ass down. Calm down.
Right. We need to have that same energy
But we do
with
not,
little boys.
Right. Well, boys are like, you need to be trying to stick your dick in everything and anything. We get it. Matter of fact, you're a heartbreaker. Makes you more of a man. That's what I want my son to be doing. Like that type of vibe. Because if you truly cared about their humanity,
right,
and the 3-dimensional construct that is a human being and their emotional well-being, you're not pushing any child into any sort of sexual or relationship or romantic thing with a fucking grown-up.
Right,
you're like,
with an
no.
adult.
Like, I get it if y'all are both fucking kids. I get it if y'all both in high school or something, like,
right, so y'all can be awkward together.
Yeah, y'all both don't know what the fuck y'all doing. That's fine.
Right, it's different.
And I absolutely would judge a fucking grown-up that, if I don't know anyone like this, but if I was hanging out and they brought their 16-year-old girlfriend around me, I wouldn't be like, that's a totally normal thing.
Right.
I'd be like, that's weird. And vice versa. I've never known a grown-ass woman to bring some 16-year-old boy around and be like, that's a normal thing. So it's just our genderized society being fucked up.
Yes, and not only is it genderized, it's something that literally everybody has to buy into, because how many times have we talked about this, and you will have people that were, 14, 15, 16, underage, and they dated these men in their 20s and 30s and 40s.
Right.
And then they were right in to defend you were a child. You could not consent.
Well, I haven't experienced people writing in, but we haven't.
I mean, not right in, but you will always have like a percentage of people that defend it because it's something that they personally experience and they think that shit is normal.
Oh, I thought you were referencing something specific with our podcast. That's all. And I just wanted to be I don't think we've had that, but yeah, but yeah, you're totally right. And it's weird because I think men are having somewhat more of an emotional awakening of recent, but of course we have to be very careful because there's a difference between men having this emotional awakening or men just choosing to use this as some sort of like gotcha, like see I told you, women just as bad and shit like that, and not, once again, not to solve the problem and say no one should be doing this regardless of gender, but to be like, well, then we should all be able to do what the fuck we want to do, because I mean, if women can do it, that's not the point. Women should not be able to do this,
right?
No adult should be sleeping with children,
right? And it's one of those things where you like, where everybody knows that this quote unquote will fuck a little girl up. Right. Why don't you think it will fuck a little boy up too?
Right. And it you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what he was rapping about. And the last thing I will say is, because I must try to stay my best to be consistent on this, I am not going to say this about consenting adults. People can feel like it's weird. They can feel like it's creepy, these age gaps. I hear what y'all saying. Legally, it's not something I would do. But I'm not taking away the agency of people that are involved in consenting adult relationships with big ass age gaps. People are allowed to feel how they want to feel about it, but that's just not something I want to do on our podcast. As being like, and as far as especially turning it into like criminal type of predatory shit. I know people are very comfortable with that language. I'm not. So like, age gap shit is different to me than this. This is literally like illegal or breaking the law type shit.
Agreed.
And these are not adults. So
they're not adults.
I think in those ways, I would like to hope we could find a common ground to all agree.
Yeah, both parties are not adults, so that's very different. Like you, a child cannot consent to something like that.
Right. All right, back to this.
Man, and I just had to break it down to him and let him know, no, you were being abused, and it often creates these guys with these weird obsessions to things. I dated another guy who, when he was about 14 years old, his grandmother would have card parties. So, older woman, about 40 years old, would pretend that she had to go to the bathroom. She'd go to the bathroom, and she'd meet him over in the cut, and he would play with her breast. And he ultimately ended up being a grown man with a sick obsession for breast. So, yeah, it's just something that we don't talk about in society, because if a 14-year-old guy is having sex with a 21-year-old woman, hey, you the man. But, if it was vice versa, it'd totally be looked at as a terrible thing. So, I thank YG for bringing that up. That's something that's been on my mind for quite some time. If you remember the movie Antoine Fisher, they kind of presented that Antoine Fisher, his babysitter, was, molested him when he was a little boy. So, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. And I love you guys. You're doing a great job. Actually learned about you from Karen Hunter. Been listening to the podcast only for about 2 months now, but I'm listening to it every day, trying to catch up. And, hey, talk to you later. Bye.
Oh, thank you. I don't think she ever said her name, but if you call back or whatever, say your name. And the reason I say that is because I add y'all's names to the voicemail list so that we know who's calling next time. But thank you for the call.
Thank you.
And yeah, I think it's very common with a lot of men. And we've been conditioned to not see it as abuse. And then as we get older, that's when you start seeing people show up to be like, wait a minute. Wait a fucking minute. I'm 25 now. I'm 40.
Yeah, when they start hitting the ages,
I would never do that. Would be wrong if I did that.
That's when you start reevaluating and you go, oh, there's something wrong here. For some people, truth be told, it's not until they actually get therapy and shit like that before they even realize, because a lot of people are in denial because nobody wants to be looked at as a victim, because quote unquote being a victim is a bad thing,
like and a not masculine thing.
That's true,
right?
I never looked at it like that, but that's true. But if you're a victim of something, you are a victim of something, and a lot of people want to, because society labels a victim as something as this is what you always are. A lot of people don't even want to be included because there's like, I am more to this than this incident.
Right.
But at the same time, you can't deny reality. If something happened, something happened.
Now, the only thing I will push back on that caller with, though, is she said this man grew up after this woman let him feel on his breast when he was underage. That he grew up with a sick obsession with breasts. Ma'am, okay, not everybody with sick obsessions with breasts had to, okay. I was not. I have a sick obsession. Okay, so nothing happened to me, but I'm gonna be on them titties. You see what I'm saying?
Oh so Lord,
let's not cast aspersions on everybody.
Let's not toss them all in the trash.
Okay, one person's sick is another person's. No, just all right. We have voicemails. I mean, we have emails, and that's the last thing.
That's hilarious.
All right. Couple emails. This is from Renewed Mocha Mom, who says, "Hi, Rod and Karen." Title is the disgust of Pusha T episode. I really enjoyed this episode. I wanted to comment on Karen Reed's case. I listened to True Crime Podcast and had heard about the case last year, but didn't follow it. This time I did follow the retrial, and it would make a great drama produced by Ryan Murphy. The twists, the turns, and cover-ups by the Boston PD and others is mind-boggling. People are very divided because the police did such a horrible job with the investigation, there's no way to prove what really happened. For example, they collected evidence in red Solo cups and put the cups uncovered in a ShopRite bag. The investigation was investigated by the FBI, which resulted in the lead detective losing his job. I don't think there was evidence that he was struck by a car, so I'm happy with the verdict. Definitely not one of those hardcore Karen Reed stands. It just feels good to see a woman go up against the blue wall and win. For your information, the foreman for the trial, for the second trial, was a middle-aged black man that came to court wearing a gold chain every day. So I knew she would be acquitted of the murder. There's a doc called A Body. Well, you know who else wear a gold chain every day? Stephen A. Smith. So we never know. There's a doc called A Body in the Snow, and I believe Dateline also covered this case. You want to check it out. Love y'all. P.S. Rod, please ask your dad to explain how he dries peppers to make seasonings again. Okay. Hold on. It's just funny. Because one, can't you rewind the podcast where he said it?
They want more details, baby.
I heard him say something about leaving them outside to release the gas. How long does he leave them out there? Does he have issues with wildlife eating his garden? I've been in a 3-year fight with a family of groundhogs that's taking up residency under my deck and use my garden as a potential restaurant. Well, you know what, Renewed Mocha Mom? I got you, sis. I'm going to forward this to my dad because I actually talked to him about this at the game last night.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was like, we have a listener who would like more information on this, on the pepper drying process.
Yeah, I think he dehydrates them and stuff. Yeah.
So I'm doing it right now as we speak. FYI, here's the email from our listener who wants more details on how to dry the peppers and turn them into seasonings. Can you hit her up and let her know the process? Thank you. All right, buddy. There you go. Don't say I never did nothing for you. And don't be harassing my dad. I know he's very smooth, but my mama will cut you. Lastly, Latoya says, question. I've been with y'all for a while, so I remember when you used to advertise for Bevel. I need a shaving system for my godsons who are having a hard time with their skin. Do you recommend them still? Yes.
Bevel is...
They don't pay us anymore, and yes. It's what I use all the time. When I shave, I always use Bevel. And I don't care that they won't pay me anymore, okay? They may have turned their back on the Black podcast community, okay? They may have sold out. They may have left me behind and said, no more checks for your little broke ass. But that don't stop me from supporting my brother, Tristan. I'm going to make sure he get his love and respect, okay? I'm never going to get on this mic and lie to y'all. Bevel is the truth. And I can't see myself using nothing else.
Bevel is...
Now, I don't give a care if someone else did pay me. I'm going to be using the Bevel.
Bevel is great. I've even actually used Bevel before. Bevel is really great. It's really gentle on the skin, particularly for like hairs up underneath your neck and like chin hairs and things like that that kind of stick out. And the way that the razor is very gentle for those that don't like me that weren't familiar with.
It's a straight razor that won't cut you because it's a safety razor as well.
And I like it.
But yeah, I highly recommend it, especially for young men who are learning to shave for the first time. It's it's an effective one that's like hard to fuck up.
Right.
And there's all kinds of like tutorials and stuff in the box, online stuff. So highly recommend Bevel. Especially with these new military provisions about razor bumps. You were the first person I thought I would consider purchasing a kit. Any recommendations would be appreciated. Thank you. Yep, absolutely recommend Bevel to this day.
I do too.
Shout out to Tristan Walker, who, that ground campaign they had with Black Podcast put a lot of money in a lot of our pockets at the time when a lot of time we don't get even looked at for these type of opportunities.
Agreed.
Unless you're a Black podcast that has like white podcast numbers, like you over index, then they might throw a little something your way. Bevel was hooking us up back when we wasn't even big at all. So thank you to them. And I just shaved with them this morning. So yeah, absolutely. All right, y'all, that's it. Thank you for listening. We'll be back throughout the week. Until next time. Oh, and tomorrow, Chris Lambert, 10 a.m.
Yay.
His stand-up show is coming, recording is coming soon. So he'll be here and we'll be talking about that. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody.